All right, it says we're live. Hey y'all, if you can see me, I'm testing out some new stuff, so thanks for being here. All right, let me see. What is this, lemonade?
Hibiscus.
Hibiscus Jamaica. Hibiscus Jamaica. It's got some mint in it too. Can you check my YouTube and see if this is working? I'm gonna just go on my Facebook real quick and see. It says I'm live on Facebook. Yeah. Cool. Yeah, see if it's up on YouTube.
Yeah.
It is? Nice. Okay, so what? Now I can do like edit post and say live from Mexico City. What the heck? Trying out some new live streaming software. Software. Is it working? All right. Apparently, you guys seen the YouTube video? Apparently, if anybody comments on this on YouTube or Facebook, then I should see it. So it says there's 2 people watching this right now. If you're watching this right now, would you please put a comment on this and just say hi so I can test out this new software? Oh, you can show them on the stream too. That's cool.
Try this limonada.
Limonada with what? Celery? Apple. What is that? When I was in college, I used to make these drinks. I did like a juice fast when I was in college, and I would make celery, ginger, maybe it's ginger, celery, ginger, cucumber, maybe it's cucumber. I'm having such a hard time placing it because somehow all these flavors just got mixed together. Obviously, ginger and cucumber do not taste the same, but it was celery, ginger, cucumber, and a couple other things. Anyways, this reminds me of that. Wow. It is really starting to rain. Okay, everyone. You see Mexico City behind me. It's starting to rain. What do we do? Somebody give me something to talk about. What do I talk about? I've been working on my book here, and we were going to do a transcription of one of the chapters that I'm working on. Let's talk about that. I'm just going to hit a transcribe button so that I can add this to my book after the stream. Can you all? Oh no, Otter's down. Just curious, can you all hear Fred again in the background? If you can hear Fred again in the background, can you comment Fred again on this stream so I know that you can hear it? I'm just curious how background noise works with this. Okay. What is that, chicken? Thank you. What are we going to do? Okay. Should we talk about my book? I've done lots of podcasts. I haven't done a lot of solo sitting in front of a camera time. I'm craving something to engage with. That's why I'm asking you to comment on this so that I can have something to play with. Give me 3 words and I'll make up a freestyle. It's been a little while. Okay, so the transcribing service isn't working. Maybe it'll work on my phone. Let's see. Okay, it works on my phone, so we can do it. Do you have the book? All right. I want to talk about the education portion of the book. No, you use that. I have this. Okay, so for anyone watching, if you don't know already, I am finishing my book right now. It's called Our Emerging Future. If you have not, is this going to work? I don't think it's going to work. Let's try it. Okay, so it goes to my Twitch and it goes to my YouTube, but it doesn't go to Facebook. So if you're watching on Facebook, you didn't get that. I'm sharing the website I just shared is ouremergingfuture.com, which is the name of the book. It's also the name of the community that has been Our Emerging Future is a global community of planetary leaders. We've got over 200 people from all around the world. If you go to ouremergingfuture.com, you can see what we're up to. We have an online course. We have a WhatsApp community. We have regularly occurring monthly calls. And this book is the book where I share the journey I've gone through in terms of my own personal development and evolution and healing, and like a few personal stories that really pack a transmission of key life lessons that I've learned. And then in those stories, there's an insight or an invitation for collective healing and like revelation. I imagine, I say in the intro to my book that I imagine you will find yourself in these pages. It's both a deeply personal story in the sense that I'm sharing this Forrest Wilson guy's history and experiences that I've had. And at the same time, it's really universal. Like there's something way, way, way deeper beyond a personal story that gets tapped into. And so one of the things that I share about in the book is emerging probabilities. So if you've never heard me talk about emerging probabilities before, in 2019, I was living in Boulder, Colorado, and I sat down with an intention to write out all the top problems in the world, with the intention to pick the one I was most passionate about and solve it. So I wrote down child sex trafficking, terrorism, war, creating a currency that's actually backed by something beyond just a fiat currency. Wow, there's more and more people in this live stream. If you're here, can you put something in the chat on whatever platform you're on so I know you're here? I want to try this new software. I'm playing with the new software. Mexico City in the background, talking about the book that I'm writing, eating a little food, having a little hangout, and just enjoying, exploring what it's like to talk to a camera when there's nobody else looking back at me, which is new for me. So, yeah, top problems in the world, terrorism, sex trafficking, child trafficking, terrorism, ethics and AI, the health and well-being of our planet, having a currency that's valued on something, not just a fiat currency that has no, like the United States went off the gold standard in 1971, and all of our global currencies are backed by debt, essentially. That's what the central banking world has manifested. On and on and on. So many things. I'm pretty sure the list had 85 or 100 different items on it. I mean, there's a lot of problems humanity's up against. And my intention was go through this whole list, get a full comprehensive list of everything humanity is up against, and then pick one of these pain points and make it the focal point of the next 10 years of my work in the world, and set out with the intention to solve that as a gift to humanity. And maybe in the course of my lifetime, I could do 3 or 4 of these, right? For me, it was either going to be education or healthcare. Education, because I've always had a passion for creating conditions for human beings to thrive, right? And I'll speak more about that in a second, because that's the chapter I'm going to get into. And the second one being healthcare, because if you know me, you probably know my dad died from cancer 10 years ago. 10 years ago, Thursday, day after tomorrow, August 7th, 2015, 10 years ago, my dad died from cancer. And that was maybe the most impactful event of my life, which is not currently in my book. So I should probably add that. I'm just going to put that down here at the bottom of my book in the section called Things I Still Want to Add. My dad dying. I'll put at least, at the very least, a blurb on that in the book. But anyway, the reason this story is significant is not just that I created a list of the top problems in the world, but that about 2 a.m. one night in Boulder, 2019, I was sitting there and I had this aha moment. It honestly felt like I got hit by a lightning bolt while I was sitting in my basement looking at this list. And I realized that by focusing on problems, by focusing on the top problems in the world, that it was creating more problems. Like I had what is going on? I had a meta moment. My computer's doing weird stuff. I had a meta moment where I saw the lens that I was looking at reality through. I went, oh, I'm holding a lens of problem-oriented consciousness, which means I'm going to find more problems, potentially even create problems where there aren't any. And in that moment, I took those glasses off, the problem-oriented glasses, and I was like, what's another way to look at the world? What is another pair of glasses I could wear? And it felt actually quite challenging to do, but I asked myself, okay, what's the world we actually want to live in? Instead of the top problems in the world and looking for what's wrong with the world and what needs to be solved, what kind of world would we actually want to look in? And the reason I say it was challenging is because I don't know if you've ever noticed this in your life, but for me, it's like somehow really easy to find what's wrong with things. It's part of our capacity, and I feel like part of our upbringing is we're so conditioned to look for what's wrong and what's broken and what needs to be fixed and how to diagnose and carve apart and take things apart and do that. But like going into what kind of world we want to live in requires imagination, right? It's a whole different capacity. It comes from a different place in us. And it was a muscle that at that time I was still rekindling quite a bit. It wasn't totally latent in me, but it certainly wasn't as robust as it is now, 6 years later. Still have lots of room to grow in my imagination, of course. I feel like we all do. But so I looked at the list. I'm like, okay, let's start with the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, SDG 1 and SDG 2. Get rid of hunger and get rid of poverty, right? These are the top 2 sustainable development goals. Again, problem-oriented. Problem is hunger, problem is poverty, and what do we need to do? We need to get rid of those. So shifting from problem-oriented consciousness to possibility-oriented consciousness to creative possibility and what we actually want to manifest in the world, the emerging probability is that basic survival needs are met for every human being. What's crazy about this is a few things. Number one, you and I could convene a committee and we could probably spend the rest of our lives talking about how do we get rid of hunger and poverty on planet Earth. And we could come up with a lot of solutions, but you can kind of feel the challenge of that. It's like how do you get rid of hunger and get rid of poverty? It's like there's so many different, as soon as you suggest something, there's something wrong with that. We got to go around and around and around about it. But the crazy thing is, if you step into the possibility-oriented side of it, of meet basic survival needs for every human being, there's this kind of duh moment of this is possible right now. We can meet basic survival needs for every human being in this moment. And so that's pretty wild. It's also been the case for a very long time. So it informs a new insight, which is that the systems we've designed on a planetary scale, if you zoom out and look down at planet Earth, these systems that humanity has created are created towards certain ends, right? A robust food marketplace, creating economies that create abundance for certain companies and industries. They've been sourced from competition. They've been sourced from scarcity, right? That's one of the fundamental assumptions in economics. They've been sourced from fear, lack, not enoughness, greed, trying to get power over other people. And it's the more I sit with this, let me own my experience here. The more I sit with this, I go, oh, the systems on planet Earth produce what they're designed to produce. They're not actually broken. They just generate the outcomes that they are oriented to. They generate the outcomes that they're designed to generate. And so it evokes this question for me of, okay, basic survival needs are meant for every human being. So what we need to do is we need to change the reason we create systems. We need to change the come from in terms of why are we doing these things in the first place, and also the outcomes that we're wanting to manifest. So another thing that's really crazy about this one in particular, basic survival needs being met for every human being, is it basically you can't change this without changing everything. I mean, it's always the case that you can't change anything without changing everything. That's just reality. But especially here, I mean, if we meet basic survival needs for every human being, it's like I don't have data on this, but my instinct or my intuition is that like 95+% of people are living out of survival consciousness, just trying to stay alive, essentially, right? Keep one foot in front of the other type thing. And if we meet basic survival needs for every human being, it's like, well, the reason we do anything changes. I mean, I'm going to get into the conversation about education 17 and a half minutes later, but if basic survival needs are met for every human being, the purpose of education clearly changes. I mean, the Western education model was created during the Industrial Revolution. It's the same model as a factory because the technological innovation of the Industrial Revolution was the assembly line. And our public education system is essentially an assembly line for human beings to manufacture mid-level corporate executives in Fortune 500 companies or government kind of managerial people. Like that's what our education system exists to do. And of course there are externalities or like there's a scatter plot of results. I mean, we also produce artists and creatives, and we also produce criminals and addicts and things like that. I mean, there's a wide range of outcomes that comes out of the educational system. But if your basic survival needs are met, if basic survival needs are met for every human being, the purpose of education changes. And one of the possibilities that I hold is that right now there's a core assumption in our society, in our culture, in our education system that when a human being is born into the world, we need to teach this human being what they need to know in order to become successful. And so it's like you're born into the world as this innate being, and then you get a ton of conditioning from parents, pastor, preacher, religion, church, state, education, and all that gets put on top of you. And then you, as a person, you're like trying to figure out how to navigate that. What should I be? How should I be? What ought I do? Guilt, shame, expectations, other people's vision for my future, etc. And I'm navigating all that in connection with my own innateness and my own aliveness. And that's how people are trying to sort things out. If you continue to progress and evolve and start to see that this is the case, what a lot of people start doing is going into things like therapy, and you start to decondition some of this stuff. You release the shame, you let go of other people's vision for your life, and you uncover more and more that innateness that's always been there. You rediscover your own nature, and then you, from that, shine out into the world, radiate your essence into being, and it has its own trajectory, its own volition, its own intelligence, its own orientation, its own movement. It leads you through your life, and you experience the beauty of, I experience the beauty of who I am as this innate essence is leading me, which is also the same innate essence that's leading you. And the farther we go down that rabbit hole, we realize we're all just one being experiencing itself through many different expressions. Bang, bang, boom, here we are. So education might be creating the conditions for happy and healthy and fulfilled human beings to thrive, to cultivate our curiosities, to pursue our passions, and to cultivate, nurture, and emanate this essence of who we are into the world in relationship with others from their essence, while navigating the residual of whatever's left over from all that neural network of gnarliness that I was referring to earlier. And that's the new paradigm for education, because so much of our education right now is like, one of these days you're going to grow up and you're going to have to get a job so you can make a living and pay bills. And there's this whole like fear transmission and intense scarcity thing going on. And so it doesn't have to be that way. We could do things differently. And that's part of what the book is inviting people into, is this awareness that reality is socially constructed. Everything that you are seeing behind me, this is Mexico City behind me. I imagine you know that because I think I wrote it, Mexico City, August 5th, as the title of this live stream. We are collectively manifesting all of this. Everything that you see behind me was a thought before it showed up here. Every single thing. Point to one thing back here that you see that wasn't a thought before it showed up. Crazy, right? So we change everything. This is one of our core assumptions in Luminous Labs, which I'll get to later. I just facilitated a 3.5 Luminous Lab here in Mexico City. Finished up on Sunday evening. Today's Tuesday evening. And maybe this is part of my debrief integration. Here, could you just write hello or Luminous Lab or Pokemon in the chat? I want to try out this new software, and allegedly, if you're on Twitch, YouTube, or Facebook, and you comment on the stream, it's going to show up. Oh, it just worked. Lindsay just commented Pokemon on YouTube, and it showed up. That is so cool. That's so cool. I've always wanted this. I've always wanted the ability that if anybody was commenting on any of these platforms, it would all show up in one place. Now, I'll tell you the software I actually want. I love the just totally buckshot nature of this conversation. But what I really want is all my WhatsApps, Signals, Facebook messages, Instagram DMs, iMessages, emails, all of those in one app where I can respond to everybody from one place. The same way that everybody's comments from all these different platforms is showing up in one chat. Because I don't know about you all, but for me, it is a nightmare keeping up with conversations, Telegram, WhatsApp, Signal, Facebook Messenger, Instagram direct message, Gmail, all the things. It's too much. It's too much. So if any of you are entrepreneurial, if any of you are coders, you don't have to be a coder anymore. With vibe coding, you can get on a platform like, what's one of these platforms called? Emergence? Is that what it's called? What's the other one? There's a new vibe coding platform. Just type in vibe coding to Google and go in there and just build what I just asked for.
Lovable.
Famous, lovable. Lovable is blowing up right now. They just got a 9-figure valuation, very big investment. But that is an application I'm needing. I'm pretty sure one of my friends was working on this at one point, but I don't know what happened to it. Jamaica. Hibiscus Jamaica. I've also got a Heineken Zero. I don't drink alcohol, but it's nice to have a non-alcoholic beer every once in a while. It was my birthday 2 days ago. So I'm having a non-alcoholic beer to celebrate. Wild child. There was a time in my life when I drank quite a lot of alcohol. There was a time in my life when I did a lot of drugs. There was a time in my life where I was very sad and I felt very alone. And it's really cool to go through a birthday and be surrounded by so many people who love me, which was the case this year, and not do any drugs, not drink any alcohol, not have any addictions, just none of that crap. Just be whole and complete and enough and just happy for no reason, actually, just because it's called the innate joy of being. When you're coming from your essence, you don't need a reason to be happy. It's just a byproduct. Joy is the default state of being human. I feel care saying that because I don't want to make any other experience wrong. That's not where I'm coming from. I'm just speaking to a possibility, which is that at some point it is possible to have sort of a peaceful joy and peaceful vibrancy just for no reason, just because that's the rhythm, that's the hum, that's the tune. Dun, 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 dun. Speaking of tune, where'd the music go? This is fun. It's a fun alternative. It's challenging. It's challenging for me to sit here and talk to nobody. It says there's 3 people watching the stream right now. Hello. Well, thank you for being here. But I'm craving a little bit of engagement. I really like, we do these Luminous Labs and I bring groups of people together, and sometimes it's people getting one-on-one attention and they're going through their own evolutionary process, whether it's in their relationship to their project or relationship to their business partner or romantic partner or their children, or in their own personal process, just working through things. But the other things we do is we ask big, beautiful questions, and then we apply awakened intelligence to these curiosities and possibilities and see what manifests. And so we're getting ready to do another one of these live streams here in the next couple of weeks. It'll be called Beyond Bitcoin. We're going to talk about Bitcoin. We're going to talk about money. We're going to talk about the possibility of the collective manifestation of a currency that explicitly, intentionally is created from and evokes healing, well-being, and awakening in people using it. So this would be like an essential money, a capital E essential money, which is a really interesting line of conversation. I don't know how much I want to unpack it right now because it's going to be for the Beyond Bitcoin live stream on the Luminous by Nature channel. If you haven't seen that, you can go to luminousbynature.com. Luminousbynature.com. I'll throw that here so you got it. It only posts these things on YouTube and Twitch. It doesn't post them on Facebook, interestingly enough. What in the world was I just talking about? Beyond Bitcoin and an essential money. The last thing I want to say about that is Terry O'Fallon from Stages International and I are from Stages International and I are collaborating on a study this year titled Luminous Stages of Money. If you go on my Facebook, you'll see a post about it. If you can't find it, let me know. Would love for you to engage with it. It's going to be really cool. If you don't know about Stages International, you can go to stagesinternational.com. Terry has created a developmental model for how consciousness evolves through 12 stages of meaning making in 3 different tiers. She calls them the concrete, the subtle, and the meta-aware tier. Of course, there's also the unified tier. We don't have enough human beings in the unified tier to have any statistical relevant data for what the heck it's like in the unified tier. But as more and more of us do things like the Luminous by Nature explorations and hang out in Luminous Labs and do the Luminous Stages of Money inventory, we might all just collectively float up there and discover what these territories are like. So, you can be a part of, like concretely, it's like when people headed west to find gold, or when the first time people found fire, right? It's like you can be a part of the group of people that go out and explore territories in consciousness that may have never been discovered. And then we can share the gold and share the technology of fire, for example, with the rest of the world. It's pretty cool. So you too can be a luminary and a way shower and help blaze vivacious trails of consciousness in the future. I wonder how loud the police siren is in the background. If you're ever in Mexico City, there's very often very loud sirens. Okay. So, basic survival needs are met for every human being. Purpose of education changes to creating the conditions and creating ecosystems for happy, healthy, fulfilled human beings to thrive, pursue their passions, cultivate their curiosities, and emanate their essence into the world as enlightened conduct and passion. Which, of course, paves the way for the future of work, because the future of work would be very similar. Creating the conditions, creating ecosystems for happy and healthy human beings to thrive, to share our gifts in service of others and the planet, and of course, for the enjoyment of what it's like to live from our gifts and get to share them with the world. I've been saying a lot recently, I don't know about you all, but my experience is like our gifts are a blessing or a curse, right? The blessing, the gift is to share our gifts with others. And if we have gifts and we're not actualizing them and relating from them and breathing into them and nurturing them and giving light to them and having opportunities to be in relationship with other people from them and share, they can be a burden. And really, like, we can get sick if we're not letting our gifts flow freely and we're not sharing them with the world. So I want to, like, on Zoom, I'm used to being on a Zoom call with dozens of people or whatever, and you say something like this and you see all the little emojis on the screen. I really want engagement. I want to be in relationship with people. I might need to try out doing these live streams with somebody else on here. It says there's 4 people watching across the different platforms, so that's kind of cool. Hello, those of you joining now. So then the future of work is about sharing our gifts in service of others, in service of the planet, in service of enjoying ourselves coming from our gifts. And then we manifest an enlightened economy. We create an enlightened business ecosystem. The question is, I was sharing for anybody who's tuning in now, I'm 32 minutes into a live stream that has been completely all over the place in a totally non-linear way that somehow makes sense, at least to me, experiencing myself, perceiving myself. Feels like there's a through line. I've basically been talking nonstop for 33 minutes, so I'm going to take a breath and have some Jamaica. What do you think?
I'm loving it. I think I was born for this.
You think I was born for this?
Yeah.
Oh boy.
You're natural.
It's different than podcasting.
Mm-hmm.
It's different than podcasting. I've never published a solo podcast, and I haven't done a lot of just individual talking to a camera. But, yeah. Does anybody have any questions or reflections or impact or feedback you want to share? You could just put it in the chat of whatever platform you're watching on, whether it's YouTube, Twitch, or Facebook. If you put a comment, I should see it here on this streaming platform I'm trying out. One of the things I've been really curious about for a long time is if you look at every, hold on, hold the phone. Actually, I'm just going to keep with it. If you look at every human being as a cell in the body of the superorganism of humanity, I can't not do this. I just got to go put the link to our Emerging Future online course here, because if you're into this conversation, I go deep. I go super deep. Wait, what does this do? No way. Oh, that's so cool.
What happened?
It just ran the link across the screen.
Oh, that's so cool.
That's pretty neat. Huh? I like it. I'm trying out all these new things, all these new features on the live stream. Anyway, you go to ouremergingfuture.com, click online course, do a deep dive into all this, plus meditations and activations and all kinds of good stuff. Anyway, every human being is a cell in the body of the superorganism of humanity. So 8 billion people alive on planet Earth right now, 8 billion cells in the superorganism of humanity. That helps you connect to our interconnectedness pretty quickly, doesn't it? So, God, I got all this food here. I'm even taking one bite of it. Look at that. Salmon, broccoli, rice. I've been like trying, in air quotes, to eat more salmon lately, because I feel like my brain needs it. So solid. Okay. 8 billion humans, 8 billion cells in the body of one being, humanity. If anyone is familiar with the fascial system in the body, the fascial system is the interconnective tissue that holds our bones, our muscles, our organs, and it helps move blood, lymph, water, and resources through the body. And so I've been looking at money as a fascial system. And I'm actually having a new moment right now. I'll tell you, historically my thought process has been, if money is the fascial system of humanity, if money is the interconnected tissue that connects humanity, if that's money, then you could argue, like the same way in a body, if anybody's ever had body work before, or if you know anything about the fascial system, you can have these, like fascia typically works like this, right? It slides, it glides across. Fascia glides across fascia. But if you have a myofascial adhesion, it creates a knot. So if you ever had a knot in your fascia, you would know it, because you'd have tightness, you'd have limited mobility. And what happens is blood, lymph, water, resources get pent up in that area. This can be because of your movement patterns, like your biomechanics. This can be because of emotional and energetic blocks. It can be psychosomatic, energetic stuff. There's all kinds of reasons this can happen. And if you work with a skillful practitioner who's able to apply the right tool and the right technique to what's needed, whether it's a functional movement exercise, whether it's a physical myofascial release, whether it's supporting you going back to your childhood and bringing love and care and presence to a memory so that energy and emotion clear and you have a deep healing, and that stuck energy can actually leave you or transmute or integrate, like whatever is needed. You can have a new moment. I mean, I've had people come to me who can't pick up their arm over their head, and they have a really deep myofascial adhesion. And then through curiosity and care and presence and skillfulness, they go through, for example, in this case, it was a very deep grief process. And on the other side of that, could use their arm with full mobility. Anyways, in the body of humanity, you could say that if money is the fascia, the places where we have myofascial adhesions in the body are like myocapital adhesions in our body of humanity. So this is where we have our blood, lymph, tissue, and resources, money in the superorganism of humanity, all pent up and stuck in one place, right? And so a question I've been in for a long time is, how do we create the conditions for myocapital releases so that those resources and that capital can release back into the interconnected whole, so the fascia can move more freely in our body of humanity? Robust, fluid, reflexive, capable movement as a being, as a species, so that our evolution and innateness can come online more robustly, right? There's an innate intelligence in all of us individually, in air quotes, and collectively as a being. And so how do we create the conditions to free that innate intelligence so it can become even more intelligent and come online more fully and be in relationship with itself more robustly, so that we can hypothetically experience a much more beautiful experience here in life. Yeah. Did I have a train of thought beyond that, or I'm like, I guess I could tell you, I've started a group called Luminous Capital, and we have invited investors and billionaires and high net worth individuals, people who have companies, portfolios. What is that?
It's you.
Oh, people who have companies, people who have portfolios, communities, networks, technologies, businesses, right? Money, investment funds. We can invite people who are in positions of power, who are leverage points. You might even call them acupuncture points in our collective body. I actually like to use that term differently. But there are leverage points in our social systems. And we're inviting these folks into Luminous Capital to do consciousness work and creating the conditions for the people who have the greatest possibility for consequential impact in the world to do the deepest kind of work we can do, which is consciousness work. I mean, consciousness work is causal. And so we bring people into the field of consciousness. Actually, I'm going to keep this short for now. I'm just going to say the luminous field. And if you've been to a Luminous Lab, if you come to, you can go to joinluminousLabs.com. Check this out. Go on your phone and check this out. JoinluminousLabs.com. So that should show up in the chat, first of all. And then I can do like this, and it'll show up on the stream. How cool is that?
So cool.
Isn't that wild? I think that is so cool. You want to know something else cool? I found out I can do this and add a little logo. So now I got the logo there. What else is on here? Ha! What's up? Sunglasses. Mic check. Stand with Ukraine. I'll leave that there for a little bit. Maybe I can take a screenshot of this. Cool. Is it working?
Yeah.
It's pretty funny, right? Let's see. Huh. What do we got? Quick look. Quick look. Well, I took a screenshot. I don't know where it went, but I can look for it later. Anyways, what else? Yeah, joinluminousLabs.com. This is pretty cool. So if you go to joinluminousLabs.com, hey, there's 5 people in here now. What's up, y'all? If you've just joined, know that if you comment on this stream on Twitch, on YouTube, or on Facebook, I'll be able to see what you say. So say hi or ask a question or share some feedback. It'd be fun to engage with you. I'm not used to talking to a camera with nobody on the other side of it. You probably know I have a podcast, but I'm trying something new here. I'm dabbling with streaming. So joinluminousLabs.com. So we just did a 3.5 Luminous Lab here in Mexico City. The 8th Luminous Lab we've ever done, 6th city that we've ever done a Luminous Lab in, 5th country. Can you believe it? We've done them in Amsterdam, Berlin, Asheville, North Carolina, Austin, Texas, Costa Rica, and Mexico City. 6 cities. And I wonder where we're coming next. Yeah, if you want to join for a Luminous Lab, I don't know, I'm not saying it doesn't exist, but I don't know of a better environment for actualizing your essence in relationship with other people and in relationship with your life, connecting to the truth of who we are, right? Like underneath all of our conditioning, there's the innate joy that we come into this world with, our innate intelligence, our soul, you could even call it. Connecting to that, getting to practice being with other people from it, and creating things in the world, creating businesses, products, offerings, communities, ways of showing up and serving others. I don't know a better place to do this work in the world. So if this kind of stuff's interesting to you, join LuminousLabs.com. At the bottom of the website, there's a place you can throw in your email address. Of course, you can go follow us on Instagram and message us there. We have a weekly Resourcing the Way call tomorrow and every Wednesday, tomorrow and every Wednesday that you can get a part of. Our promise to you on the Resourcing the Way call is you will leave the call more resourced than you came into it. People report feeling more creative, more peaceful, more alive, more vibrant coming out of the call than they showed up for it. So it's part of the emerging well-being infrastructure on planet Earth for healthy, happy humans. And Luminous Labs is a good place to get that kind of support. So you're invited to check that out. And then we've got Luminous Capital, which I was speaking to. So we're launching our first online incubator for Luminous Capital right now. If you are an investor, if you are someone who has IPO'd or sold a company recently, if you have a portfolio, please reach out. If you're interested in doing consciousness work and meeting with other big-hearted, brilliant, and awake investors who want to use capital and people who want to use capital and investment and finance, and there's a thing. It's coming to me. Just give me a minute here. If you want to use capital and investment to liberate humanity and its potential, and if you want to be a part of building out the infrastructure that supports the supporters of the new way of being, I call this metacelium, right? If you know the mycelial network, if anybody here knows mycelium, maybe you can type mycelium or metacelium in the chat, just so I know you're here. It says 5 people are here. Well, now there's 3 people here. People have been bouncing in and out the whole time. The mycelial network is the interconnected network of mushrooms under planet Earth. And I use the term metacelium for the interconnected network that supports this meta ecosystem that's emerging on planet Earth right now. So if you'd like to be a part of emerging that in relationship with other investors who have a heart of gold, let me know. That'd be cool. Good to have you. Our first cohort is definitely. I'm very excited and honored to get to do with folks. Man, I don't know the last time I heard Forrest talk this much in 50 minutes. Yeah. Does anybody have any questions or reflections or anything? I can tell my rhythm is kind of like slowing down a little bit. Yeah. This could be really cool. I mean, I've never done it before, but I could imagine if people started to want to join. Historically, I've done these in Zoom, but right now I'm doing it straight from the streaming platform. So it seems like that I can invite guests. Yeah. So it looks like I can add people and you could come and be on this with me, like your face and your voice. Another way to engage is in the chat, commenting. Could be cool. Could be cool. Part of the emerging media ecosystem where we talk about the things that support people feeling more regulated and awake and aware and whole. That's the kind of media we need. I mean, it's just crazy these days on TikTok and Instagram and all these places. Yeah. Anything you want me to talk about? It's been 50 minutes. I can't just. Oh! Will you hand me a pack of Pokemon cards?
I wondered if you were going to do it.
Y'all wouldn't believe it. I got Pokemon cards for my birthday, like packs of Pokemon cards. Can you believe this? This is what I got for my birthday. A box of Pokemon cards. Can you believe this? I haven't opened these things since I was 5. I just turned 34 2 days ago. And I have packs of Pokemon cards. Look at that. Now, y'all got to understand. This was not a thing when I was a kid. We had 151 Pokemon cards. They have Pokemon now. I don't even know what these are on the packs. It says Scarlet and Violet Prismatic Evolutions. And we looked this up yesterday on YouTube. There's something called a God Pack. That's like why people are so crazy about these, because there's like certain ones of these cards. Like I have these packs, and apparently you can get like $5,000 worth of Pokemon cards in a pack. And there are people, can you believe this? 2025, there are people who make their entire living opening Pokemon cards on a live stream. Isn't that crazy? Anyway, I'm going to do one pack of these just because I want to celebrate my birthday with you all. And this was the birthday gift I got. I got Pokemon cards gifted to me for my birthday, which honestly, if I'm being honest, it almost made me cry. So, maybe I'll try the other one. There we go. All right. If I open up a $5,000 pack of Pokemon cards right now on this live stream, that would be a trip. Hoot a hoot! That makes me think of my dad. Hoot a hoot. He used to say shit like that. Hoot a hoot! Can you believe this? I've got Pokemon cards. Look, actual Pokemon cards. I used to play with these things when I was a kid. Oh! I think these, let's see. Whoa, that one looks cool. Look at that one. Glass Trumpet. That looks pretty cool. I don't know what I'm going to do with these things. Leafeon. I don't know what I'm going to do with these things. If any of you have any children who play with Pokemon cards and they're in need of certain Pokemon cards to fill out their deck, you can message me and tell me which ones they're needing, and I might have the one they need. I don't know. There were 10 of these packs with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 cards in them. So I got 100 cards for my birthday, if you can believe it. Yeah, so anyway, Pokemon, birthday, 34 years old, opening Pokemon cards for my birthday. Can you believe that? How about that for celebrating your inner child? Okay, well, if you've been here hanging out, write to me. Let me know how this has been for you. I want to hear from you. I'm considering doing this more often. I'm not sure exactly what to do about the challenge of just talking to myself for an hour. And it seems that a lot of streamers are able to do it by having really intense reactions to things. And it's funny, right? Because you do meditation practices and mindfulness stuff to sort of dissolve your reactivity. But anyway, I'm going to let that be enough for now. Thank you all. Love you. And yeah, I don't even know.